This is the BiggerPockets Podcast, show 160.
You're listening to BiggerPockets Radio, simplifying real estate for investors large and small. If you're here looking to learn about real estate investing without all the hype, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and be sure to join the millions of others who have benefited from BiggerPockets.com, your home for real estate investing online.
What's going on, everybody? This is Josh Dorkin, host of the BiggerPockets Podcast, here with my co-host, Mr. Brandon Turner. What's up, buddy?
Not much. I'm in a new office. You like it? Look at this.
It looks very feminine.
It is very feminine. This is my wife's office today. You know why? You know why I'm recording in here?
I bet you've got a really good reason for that.
I do have a good
And
reason
you're
for
going to
that.
tell me all about it, right?
I'm going to tell you all about it right now.
Awesome.
I am recording here because we are in process of recording the audiobook for the book on managing rental properties. If people are familiar with, we released last month the book on the book on rental property investing, and that one included an audiobook, and we'd never had time to record the audiobook for the book on managing, so we are in the process of doing that right now. So I'm in my wife's office, so she can be the one recording at least most of that book.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
awesome.
there you go.
Yeah, we're going to look forward to hearing her.
Yes, that's why I have the pretty flowers and butterflies behind me.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
Whatever.
Nice. How's life otherwise?
Life is good. I actually just booked a week-long vacation in Hawaii, so that's always good. Coming
sounds
up here
tough.
in a month and a half or something like that. So
Nice. Enjoy it. That'll be your last week in Hawaii for a long time.
That'll be my last week in Hawaii for a long time.
Yes.
If people don't know, I am expecting my first baby, so
you should see his belly, guys. The surgeries they can do today are amazing.
It's amazing what they can do. My wife is expecting a child. So anyway, yeah. So that's what I got going on. What do you got going on? When's your next vacation?
I've actually got one planned. Shockingly, for anyone listening, I've actually taken a grand total of, I believe, 2 days off in 8 years, give or take, somewhere maybe 9. But yeah, we're doing a cruise in a few months.
Nice.
I will say it's not a true vacation though. The trip is a trip with my family, my parents, my brother and their families, and so not quite the quote unquote vacation I want. Although I will be turning 40 years old in a few weeks.
That's right.
I think I'll be taking a day or two off. And this is the year of my 10-year wedding anniversary. So we are looking to do some kind of really cool trip this year. So if anyone has an awesome place they want to let us stay at somewhere really cool, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but let's get back to this, man.
All right.
Let's get back on track.
Today's show, if I could transition to our show, is incredible. I think you guys are going to love it. Whether you're a flipper or we're talking about flipping today, but whether you're a flipper or any other kind of landlord, investor, wholesaler, whatever, man, today's tips are awesome, and it's just a really fun show.
It was.
Yeah, she's a riot. So yeah, you guys will love it.
Yeah.
But before we talk about that,
yes, let's I really quickly I want to read this review.
Is it a good one?
Because
you read a bad one earlier, and it was like,
I did read a bad one. They were really mean.
Why would I take advice from losers like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Well, so here this was from Swag for Sale 22 on January 19th. I typically do not reviews, but BiggerPockets has changed my life in a few short months. I've tried numerous podcasts in real estate, and none have come close to comparing. The expertise is second to none, and I love how Brandon and Josh are so down to earth and real. There's zero hype, and it is a tight-knit community genuinely dedicated to helping one another. I'm so blessed to have found the site and extremely excited and optimistic about not only my own real estate future, but the future of the BP site and community as well. Wow. Thanks so much, Brandon, Josh, and everyone else. We love you guys. And of course, she mentioned you first.
Of course.
Great review, except for that.
Oh, it was an awesome review. That's awesome. Thank you guys for everyone who left a review for us. We just want to say thank you. You guys really makes our day when we read those, and
it does.
I don't know, builds up my self-esteem a little bit while Josh tears it down.
Yes, so jump on iTunes, leave us some reviews if you haven't already. And speaking of reviews, let's get to today's quick tip.
All right, today's quick tip is a totally self-serving one, but I need to ask a favor of every person who has ever purchased a book from BiggerPockets, whether that's the book on flipping houses, no and low money down, rental property, managing, whatever. If you've purchased a book from BiggerPockets, could you do me a huge favor and leave us an Amazon review for the book or 2-book or 3-book that you've purchased? If you
or 5.
Or 5. If you purchase every book from us, leave us an Amazon review. We could really, really use some more reviews in Amazon. That's a quick tip.
Awesome.
And let me know. Let me know if you do. Comment in the show notes and just say you did. We want to go check it out.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Awesome. Let's get into this thing.
All right.
Today's guest is Stefanie Marshall. Stefanie Marshall. She is a riot.
Yes.
She's over in Chico, California. And some of you guys who talk about the California market and how crazy it is and unaffordable, I definitely want you to listen up because you'll learn a thing or two about.
She bought a house for $30,000.
She did
in California.
She did.
Amazing.
It is amazing. Now, was it good or not?
I don't know.
You got to listen.
I'm going camping. We're going to find out. We'll go camping there.
Yeah, for sure.
You'll hear why.
But so she's great. She's done a ton of deals in a very short time, and all that while still working. So it's a great story. She's awesome, really funny, and let's get to it. Stefanie Marshall, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's good to be here.
How do you can't? You're welcome. She thanked me.
You're welcome. I took you're welcome. Is that okay?
That's not cool,
Can
man.
I steal your welcome? Okay, too late. Well, I'm going to steal your first question, too.
All right, jump
How
on
you
it.
doing, Stefanie?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm happy to be here. It's
Good.
a beautiful day today, actually.
Where are you?
It's not a beautiful day here.
I'm in California. It's been raining. Like, hallelujah, though, that it's been raining because we haven't had any rain. But now the sun's out today.
Yeah, but you're not from California, are you? You sound like a Southern girl.
No, I'm a cowgirl.
Wow.
You're
In
right.
my belly.
Oh, you're like country California.
Yeah, well, I'm Northern California. It's totally different.
Yeah, what part of Cali are you?
Chico.
Oh, okay, the Chico Rooks.
I don't know, Chico.
No.
You don't know the Chico Rooks?
No, what's that?
It's a soccer team
Oh.
from Chico State.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I ride
all right.
horses. I don't play soccer.
All right. Well, Stefanie, welcome. We want to, stop this small talk and bust into this. So, Brandon, go ahead. What's your first question for
All right.
Stefanie?
My first question. Well, I already asked her how you doing. That's a question. So my second question is, how did you? First of all, what do you do? People don't know what you do. What do you do for real estate?
I buy houses, fix them up, and sell them.
So you are a flipper, as they call them.
I would say you could
I could use
title
that word.
me as that.
Okay, good. How did you get into that?
At the time, it was my husband and I, and we had been talking about it and wanted to do it, and we had met a realtor who had sold us our house, and then she found a deal, and so we put an offer in on it, and we got the house. And we kind of fell into all of that, but it actually ended up being just as planned, and we met the contractor that I still work with today, and so it was kind of like we stepped out on a limb and did it, and it turned out, and we made money, and so we did it again.
That's cool.
So how long ago was that?
That was in 2011.
2011. How many deals have you done since then?
Probably 50 or 60.
Whoa.
Okay. So that's a serious business.
I work, yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps me busy. It's not my only job either, but
Oh, do you have
Really?
a day job as well?
yeah, I'm an accountant.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did not
Okay.
know that.
No.
50 or 60 deals while working a full-time job. That sounds like a good title of a show right there.
Right?
That's cool. Okay, so maybe I can ask, why house flipping? Why did you guys originally, why did you say it would be fun to flip a house? Were you watching the flipping shows, or had you always wanted to do it, or what presented you that option?
I'd been around it, with some of my family members and the things that they have experienced, and they had done it, and it was just, I probably watched a lot of HGTV, and and was like, well, why not? I could try it. And I think just knowing what I know now, I probably would have, ran the other direction because a lot of stuff comes along. But when you go into it in such a naive place and you just think that everything's going to be okay, and when it turns out okay and you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, I really just learned what I learned through experience. I didn't read any of your all's books or none of that.
I'm offended. I'm offended.
I do now.
So you're saying the key to get started is to pretend like there's rainbows and unicorns.
Right? I totally live in this bubble. Don't pop my bubble. My bubble has been popped and I have lost a lot of money. So not that I haven't learned anything, but I definitely probably didn't know as much as I should know going into it. And I think what saved us is we had a contractor who had been flipping houses and he knew what he was doing.
That definitely helps.
Not me.
A lot.
Yeah.
How did you guys come across that guy? Because you said you've kept this contractor for 50 or 60 deals. That's kind of unheard of. I don't think I know too many people who could say the same thing. What was it about this guy? Was this like you were naive? Were you just lucky as hell that you found the guy? And what is it about? Okay.
No, you go ahead. You finish your question.
I was going to say,
who did?
All right, so I like her. The final part of the question is this.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
No. All right, the final part of the question is this. What is it about that guy that is so awesome that has allowed you to keep him over these deals? So let's hear all three answers.
Wow, I forgot everything you just said. Just kidding. He comes from this place of he is very budget conscious, and to me that's what I'm good at. Like, I get the numbers, I get the details of what everything needs to cost. I think that was my strength going in, being an accountant and knowing the details of everything. I knew how to make a spreadsheet really good, and that was an important part of it. But he understood how much stuff costs, and he would make decisions based on those costs that he knew, hey, if she's not making money, I'm not making money. And so for him to overcharge me and to do things like that wasn't in his best interest. And so for us, it just became this place where we totally trust each other in everything that we do. And, now we're to this place where he goes and looks at houses and, and he tells me, and then I write up the kind of the budget scenario on it and all of those kinds of things. So for me, we both were on the same page in terms of morals and values and what was important to us. And we've been through some hard times and it hasn't been easy, but through it all, we stuck together and completely trust each other. And I think that's hard to find. I did try to go find other contractors and it didn't work out because it's just we weren't on the same path, we were on the same page and didn't have the same things that were important to both of us. So
sure. And do you guys partner together on stuff ever, or is it purely you hire him for a fee to do the job?
We've done maybe like 3 together where he's found them, but that was quite a few years ago. But right now we just I hire him and I pay him what he bills me, and that's kind of how we do it now. But not that we haven't done that in the past, and not that I'm opposed to that in the future. It's just that's what kind of works for us right now.
Sure.
Right on. So in there, you talked about these hard times. Were those hard times for you specifically in the business? Were there? You said we, so I don't know if the hard times were you and he were having issue, or were they, the business was kind of having, or the side business or whatever you want to call it, right? Your real estate business was having tough times.
I got to this place where my husband at the time really wanted to push forward and grow the business, and so we tried to bring on another contractor, and that kind of offended my contractor, and it was like all this tug of war of what we do, and it kind of all blew up in our face, and we made some bad decisions and weren't mindful of what we were buying. And you think that if you do good on every deal that you're gonna do good on every deal, and it's not how it happens. And so I really in the past 6-8 months have kind of stepped back and made some different paths and different priorities and made it something that is doable and attainable and balanced and what works for me. which, not everything always has to be bigger and better. Sometimes that's not always true.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you talk about some of the deals that did go wrong? I mean, what actually beyond kind of the that's it. So sorry, you're on the BiggerPockets podcast.
So sorry, you suck, and you like.
No, come on, we gotta. I mean, you open the door, so we gotta hear it. So tell us, like,
let's walk on through. Come on, boys, let's walk through it. Make me relive it.
Well, we're gonna make you relive it, so the thousands and tens of thousands of people who are listening don't have to.
Hundreds of thousands,
millions,
billions.
Okay, well, I had kind of created this market where I bought properties where I had the biggest pool of buyers. That was always my direction, and we went into and purchased a property where we paid $450,000 for the property, which is not even where I like to be on the resale, and that's just not the market I'm in. It doesn't work for me, and so we purchased this property and did our normal flip stuff to it, not what I think there wasn't enough room to make it what it needed to be a $600,000 house. So there was definitely some budget lacking to make it what it needed to be on the other end, and we ended up losing over $100,000 on that house.
Oh wow!
So it's like an analysis issue at the end of the day.
Basically, I felt like the ball was rolling too fast and it got too big to stop, where, somebody was bringing me a deal, and if you're not really looking at it, looking at the comps, looking at the numbers, and being real sure that you can make money on it. I mean, I think that you can make money in those areas, but you got to be real sure about what you want it to look like on the other end and what the comps look like, and be realistic. And when you get into those high price ranges, you can have really large price reductions happen to make it sell. And that's what ended up happening. And, that's a big wake-up call when you realize, okay, well, I'm not invincible.
Yeah, and 5% at $500,000 or $600,000 is a lot bigger than $500,000 at $100,000.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The numbers grow, and then holding costs and all of that increase, and so that one hurt for sure.
$100,000. That's
my dad. When I started this, my dad told me, Stefanie, your first loss will be your smallest loss. And I was like, what? You talk about, Dad? Whatever. And I remember the first time, I don't know how many deals we did, but I did all, the second I get my HUD statement, I put it in QuickBooks, and it's my little yay me time, because my brain is crazy. But I go through the whole balance sheet and make sure and see where I'm going to end up, and it was negative $430 or something and 28 cents, and I just had about a freak out moment, and I was like, I lost $400. Oh my God, this is awful. And then then to however many years later to lose what we lost on that other one, it was well, he was right.
Yeah. Yeah, the worst I ever did, I lost $10,000 on a flip, and I've told that story a number of times, on the BiggerPockets webinars that we do once a week.
You trying to make her feel bad? I mean,
no.
What are you doing? Hey, I only lost $10,000 on my worst deal. Wow, nice, Brandon.
Yeah, that's my
you
goal.
wonder why some people don't want to come back.
Yeah, I'm sure she's made a lot more than me on my flips. But my point was the reason that I lost money sounds like the exact same reason you did. I mean, I try. I mean, maybe not. You can correct me, but I mean, I found a house that it was more expensive than I typically had ever done. I mean, my typical flips are, usually I sell them for around $100,000. Now we're in a very different market than you are, but I usually sell them around $100,000. And this one I was listed at $170,000, so it was almost twice as of a property. At the end of the day, it didn't sell for $170,000. I just got reducing my price and held it for a solid year to sell the thing. And at the end of the day, we ended up losing, I think, like I said, $10,000 on it, but we sold it for $120,000 at the end of the day.
I want to ask you guys both a question on that line of talking there. Price, yeah, you got that. The price reductions. It's something that, in a not so hot market, in a flat market, in a turning market, you tend to see that obviously a lot more. So if you're kind of falsely predicting where your numbers are going to be, or if the market turns, I mean, lots of factors could come into play. You're going to get in trouble. So now, the thinking is you don't want to chase the price down, because if you chase it, you know, hey, I'm only going to drop it this bit, and you do that, but it's not enough. So where's the line? I don't think we've actually asked this question on the show, so I'm just curious what both of you guys think. Where's the line in doing a price reduction between, hey, I'm going to try and get as little as I can, drop it by as little as I can to ensure, you know, I can eke out, you know, the maximum profit, versus I'm going to drop it to a price where I know this thing is low enough to sell, guarantee me maybe minimum profits, but at least I'm not going to chase it down and keep following it for month and month and month.
Want me to go?
You go. You take it.
Okay. I have, you know, different philosophies on that and have learned a lot of different scenarios with that particular question. Currently, I check out my comps like nobody's business. You know, I go around and I drive and I want to see what the competition is. I want to price my homes right. And I want to know every single number before I go and price that home, so that when I do price it, my price per square foot is at or below a worse comp. Does that make sense? So that when they go and they look at mine, they go, that's a much better deal. And I'm still making money at that number, but my house isn't sitting. So that's where I'm at right now, and that's what I've learned, to be very diligent in where my price per square foot is and exactly what my comps look like, and very current comps. You know, comps change from the time I purchase to the time that I sell. So I do a complete analysis when I purchase, and then I redo it before I put it on the market to see, hey, maybe I need to drop it another $5,000 to sell it right away.
Yeah. So how do you account for that, by the way? I mean, let's say in that time, maybe it's 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you know, let's say you've dropped 8%, 7%, 10%, you know, and you only had 10, 20% padding in there for profit. So, you know, how does a newbie figure out, hey, you know what, I need to put some padding in. How do I protect myself in case the market does turn while I'm in the midst of the flip?
For me, I think at the beginning that there is just always some, like, guaranteed 100% of the time something will go wrong, like what you're saying. There's just never been a property or a deal that I've done where something hasn't gone wrong. And so in my numbers, there is just what I call extras, miscellaneous. I don't know what's going to go wrong, but this money is going to be used up for something and I can't account for it, whether it be because the price has gone down or because I had extra expenses. But based on how much the property needs in terms of work and whatever that looks like, I increase or decrease that number just to make sure that I'm covering my behind at the back end and make sure that that's taken care of. But I want to answer the rest of your question on the price reductions. I think, you know, also, you know, I've read a lot of stuff. I've had other strategies where, like, if I don't get an offer in the first week, that, you know, we reduce the price to get it back on the hot sheets. I've done that. That's worked sometimes. And I've also just stuck at my price because sometimes in some of the markets that I am in, that days on market are just to be expected to be longer, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm priced poorly, that I just have to be patient.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Patient. Yeah. I'm good at that.
To add on to something you said there a minute ago that I liked, you know, you said you want to be slightly below, you know, at or below the average, you know, a worse comp, right? I really like that a lot, because what a lot of people do, and the mistake that I made on that deal that I lost all that money on, is I said, you know what, this house is going to be beautiful. You know, I'm going to have new hardwood floors and granite countertops. It's going to be huge and it's tons of square footage. So I kept tricking myself into saying, you know what, people will pay more for this. People will pay more because they're going to they're going to love this. They're going to love, and I kept bumping it higher and higher and higher because I kept thinking they'd pay more and more and more. No, they won't. Like, it didn't matter. Mine was the best house it was the best house in town by far. But that's the problem. It was by far the best house in town, and so
right.
Like,
so then there's no
comps
to be able to justify that price. And I don't ever want to be the nicest house on the street or in town.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, that was. I mean, it was an emotional thing. I just kept putting more into it because I thought, this is just, I already put the hardwood floors in. It's got to have travertine tile in the kitchen, and I got the travertine in the kitchen. It's like it's got to have the new cabinets and the new counters, and the, your emotion takes over, and you just get excited, and you want to do what the shows do, what HGTV shows, a complete $100,000 flip. But that house would have sold if I would have put half the amount into it. Would have sold for the same amount.
But instead, you lost $10,000.
Yeah, at least it wasn't $100,000. Sorry.
I told you it already hurts. I'm like wounded. I'm like, you just so stuck a knife into my gaping wound.
I know.
Hey, Stephanie, what markets are you in?
What do you mean by that?
Well, like where do you invest? Yeah, what do you?
Like single family homes? Like is that what you're saying?
No, like Chico. You said
like
you live in
actual
Chico.
cities.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Should be.
I take it back. I'm not sorry.
Okay.
Chico. I've done houses in Chico, Red Bluff, Orville, Gridley, Paradise. I've looked at stuff.
Those the names of actual cities?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Northern California has cool city names. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So those are, I'm assuming, all around.
Thank you.
Yeah. Those are.
It's like Butte County, Tehama County.
Okay, so it's all around you. You don't do long distance flipping or anything crazy like that.
I have, but not right now.
Okay. So, I mean, what are the price ranges, just so we have an idea of what that looks like? What do you typically buy a property for? What's your, eventual? What do you typically buy it for? What do you want to sell it for? What do you usually put into a deal? Like, what's a typical flip look like for you?
Well, like in Chico, which is primarily my area, resale ranges from, like the average to anywhere from like 225 to 300. When you get over 300, it's a little bit, people need to be making a little bit more money. So I'm constantly looking at houses that I purchased around 100, 120, 150. If I get out to more rural areas, like I just bought a house for $30,000.
In California?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
No.
I was going to say, I never thought that would be possible in California. No matter, even
it's got
the worst area.
An RV and a car on it, and nobody wanted it but me.
You can go
Did you get the RV and car for free? Yeah. I mean,
I did, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't move, so I got to figure that one out.
You don't need an RV to move to be able to camp in it.
It's pretty much in an unfortunate place right now. You're like staring at a fence, so that's not...
No
like, well, kids, hop on in. We're staying here.
That sounds good. That sounds like a good vacation. All right, that's where I'm coming next vacation. So I'll be right. Put it on Airbnb. You're great.
I'll put like the air freshener in it for you because I'm really not sure what kind of stench is in there. Awesome. Anyways, in terms of costs, I've run as little as like 40 to 50 total, which would like include escrow and commissions and all of that, to maybe 60 to 70 is, more of my total cost. I'm not talking just repairs. I'm talking everything.
Sure. And then, so what's your minimum profit you try to shoot for? Do you say, I won't do a deal under this amount?
I've kind of changed that. I really, in the past 6 months or so, I've gotten rid of my realtor and am selling the houses myself. I don't have my license, but I'm representing everything myself. And saving. That was a personal decision based on my reputation. I really wanted to get to know my buyers. I wanted them to meet me and to see me and to know what we do and how we do it and that we do it well. That was important to me.
Yeah.
And then, so when I went into this and just the accounting background that I had, I didn't go into it like knowing all the percentages and all of that. For me, it was like always just a flat number. I want to make $15,000. I want to make $20,000. I want to make $30,000, whatever that number is. So I usually don't like to make less than 15 on a property. Have I? Yes. Have I made more than that? Yeah. But that's generally where I draw my minimum at.
Okay.
Right on.
Okay.
Right on. So let's talk about this. I mean, you're going against the grain here. I mean, you are for sale by owning these properties. It's not something I've heard a lot of investors do. You said you're doing it because, I mean, that's, you just want to get to know the buyers.
I want to save some money as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So now the question is, most agents will argue, well, you're actually losing money by not using an agent, and you're going to make more money if you get it on the MLS, and you're going to get higher price. So
I
so
do
on
put
so
it on
forth.
the MLS.
Yeah. So how does that work?
I use it just like a flat fee.
Okay. And how does that work for those people who have never heard of flat fee listings? What does that mean? How does it work?
You basically purchase a listing. You can go online to a MLS listing, the website, and it's like $300, and I fill out all of the information and all the details. And I wouldn't recommend this for people who don't know what they're doing. I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen contracts after contract after contract. I know exactly what needs to be represented. I have an attorney who reviews all of my documents and all of my paperwork, and I've been sued and all of that, so I know how to protect and cover my behind. But it's partially because I wanted a handle on what was going on the other side of transactions. I find that I get more out of a house when people talk to me and they meet me and they know that I ain't BSing them, that I've done a good job. I'll show them every invoice that I've done on the property so that they know the repairs that's been done. And they go, okay, I'll give you full price. And I'm like, well, okay, let's put the deal together. For me, and I want to have a good reputation. I want to be represented well. I'm not planning on going anywhere, and I want to be able to do this for a long time. And I don't necessarily want people to see my face, but I want them to, I want them to know me and know our business and know that we aren't just, covering up whatever and putting it on the market. I do a good job and I do quality work, and I get inspections, and I just make sure that everything's represented well. So it's important to me to know my buyers and to also get agents to get to know me, because then they'll bring me deals.
Yeah. I love that.
So on the attorney, you spend the $300 on the flat fee. You generally feel like you know and understand these contracts, and then you go and you have an attorney review. What does that cost, the attorney review?
Well, let me back up with the MLS listing. Then basically the guy puts it on MLS for me, but I've filled out all the information. So he basically says, like, I'm not representing anything that you do. He just basically does paperwork for me. But how I fill out my disclosures is what I make sure that's been reviewed by my attorney. And that's just was like a one-time deal, and however much an attorney costs, $300 an hour or something. But to me that was important because I've gotten in trouble in the past before with filling out disclosures incorrectly. So
got it. Okay. And I know, Brandon, you've got a...
Yeah, I'm just wondering, why did you choose not to just become an agent? Like, why sell that way?
I'm planning on getting there. I've passed 2 of my classes and stuff already, but
okay.
I work a lot.
It's
like tax season and stuff right now. So.
Yeah, that's true. And you're the accountant, so you're a little busy right now.
No, it is my plan. But also I think with that comes a lot of like other responsibilities, like being under a broker and all of that I don't really know if I want to answer to.
Yeah. It's good.
So I haven't got all that figured out. And for right now, what I'm doing is working for me. But I don't know. I haven't exactly figured out if I want to be under a broker. I probably may just go get my broker's license and then just deal with myself because I don't really like people telling me what to do.
Oh, interesting. Funny.
Yeah.
Hey, so, you're an accountant. And it sounds like you love what you do in this real estate business. So why not? I mean, it sounds like you've built up quite a real estate business. Why not just stop doing the accounting thing? Or do you also love the accounting thing?
Well, it is. My father and I are partners, so it's my own business. It's not I work. It's not like I work for the man and he tells me what to do, except for my father. But but that's just. for me, that's a responsibility that I signed up for long ago, and I gave my dad my word that I would, be a partner in this business. And we've really created it to where it is tax season based. So, I go through and I work my butt off, January through April, and the rest of the year, it's not really, I don't really have to attend to it that much. So I do have time to be able to do the real estate stuff, and I get a lot of help during tax season. My competitors know that I'm an accountant though, and they stick it to me during, at the auctions. They're like, Steph's working, so they know I'm not going to show up. I've had them say that to me. I'm like, ugh. So they know I'm not around, but I got my little people out there.
Well, so you mentioned auctions. I think that's probably a good transition to talk about how are you finding deals? Is that how you're getting them, or do you buy MLS, or what are you doing for deals today?
I would say my ratio 80% I purchase at auction. When I look through, when I go and I do my final review over the year, it's generally how I get my deals. But I'm constantly looking at what's on MLS, and I have agents that send me stuff, and I'm flooded all day long with people sending me houses, so I don't have a shortage of. But I think that's come with like the reputation that you show her a house, and the deal works, she'll buy it. Yep. So that's come with with time of being spent of actually purchasing homes and not backing out all the time.
What kind of auctions are you going to?
Just the local county auctions. Auction.com comes around here and does an auction like every 2 weeks, and so they go to the courthouse, and then I go, every day they have something that is going to be at the courthouse steps that I go and purchase.
So wait. So auction.com actually works with the county? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know they did that.
Well, yeah, well, I don't know if they necessarily work with the county or if they are working with the banks and then they're representing the banks, but then they actually do the auction at the courthouse steps. They used to do it in like a different location, like at a casino, but now they do it at the courthouse steps. It's just at a different time.
Okay, interesting.
I liked the casino a lot better.
that would be more fun. All right, so when you go to an auction, is this the type also where you have to have all cash by the end of the day? You can't get inside can you get inside the property to look at it ahead of time? How does that all work?
No, I'm not allowed to go in the property.
Okay. And you didn't just wink to me. So
no.
There was no wink there. All right, so that's the danger of auction properties a lot of times is you don't always know what you're getting, especially if it's lived in ahead of time and somebody lives there. That you don't always know what you're getting. How have you mitigated that risk? That scares me about buying a property. If I buy, I don't flip a lot of properties. So if the one or two that I flip happen to be, 50% of them happen to be, occupied or have I don't know, concrete poured down.
Really cool RVs sitting in
really
there.
Cool RVs. How do you mitigate that?
I've just been doing it long enough that when I go and I look at a property, most of the time, if it's occupied, I have done everything I can in terms of researching that property and what it is and what the value is, and have put it in my numbers worst case scenario in terms of fix up. Is the septic going to go bad? Is the HVAC bad? Is the roof bad? All of those are in my numbers, and if they end up being okay, then better for me. But I always, when it's occupied and there is that risk there, I just put it into my numbers to make sure. And then, obviously being able to get those people out is part of the cost as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Do you have to then evict them if they're still living there? You have to evict them if they don't leave, or how do you get rid of them?
I've had to do both. I do either cash for keys. I've only had to evict maybe 2 or 3 people.
And for those who don't know what cash for keys is, can you explain that? Because I love cash for keys. Not receiving it, but I like
your keys.
There you go. I love it. And a lot of people get really angry with that. I'm trying to explain it to an older guy one time, who's he's a landlord for 50 years. Yeah, he thought I was ridiculous for giving bad tenants money to leave. He's like, no, you take them to court. And I'm like, yeah, but they damage your property. He's like, doesn't matter. It's just the principle. I'm like, this is not principle. It's money. Yeah.
But when I'm an accountant, so I 1099 you, so you're going to pay tax on that money.
There you go.
I love that.
There you go.
I do. I get their social.
That's really funny. That's
Nice.
awesome.
Hey, do these when you buy them at the auction, they're not like an REO where all the liens are wiped out, right? I mean, you may have to clean up some stuff, right?
Yep. I have a lady that I have a title connection, so I email them and I ask them to get me info on it, and if anything, we kind of have it laid out where she gives me the important information, make sure the first is going to sale. If there's a second or a third on the property, I know that. If there's any liens against the names or federal or state liens, I know that. I've purchased houses with federal income tax liens on them. So I know the ins and outs of what title looks like, and yeah, there is a lot of risk. We have like chip housing here. I don't know if you guys know what that is, where it's like basically like a local housing assistance program. I've had those liens on title before and had to clean those up. I've had child support liens. I've had all kinds of stuff.
So are you doing the research on this stuff before you go to the auction?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're seeing the list of the properties. You're doing research on the handful that you think you might be interested in, and then you go to the auction. How much time in advance do you actually get these lists?
I print out. Our program is that every Thursday we print out for the next week, and then if there's stuff that's going Monday, I look at it over the weekend. If there's stuff, constantly. Stuff is getting postponed or canceled, so I have to look and review it every day, every morning, and then I usually have everything done like the day before. If I know for sure that it's gonna go to auction and that I'm gonna get to be able to bid on it, I research title, I get my resale numbers done, I've looked at the comps, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into it, and then like 9 times out of 10 I don't get it, so it's a lot of work, but then I will, it's just, and it always goes like this. And what I have found out that if I have too many properties and my guys are busy or whatever, if I stop looking because I'm busy is when I'll miss a deal. So like I've just learned to just never stop looking. Does that make sense? Like I just don't, because even if my guys are busy, if there's a good deal, I don't want to let it go. So I just am always, it's just part of my daily routine.
And I think that's key right there. We talked a couple weeks ago or a while back about with Hal Elrod from who wrote The Miracle Morning, and he's all about like this idea of processes and like just follow your process. If you just stick to that process, the results will take care of themselves. So
right.
That's kind of what you're saying is just, you have that daily routine, just do it. If you stop that, I mean, like a lot of people get into real estate investing, and I'm totally guilty of this, in like a reactive mode, right? Like, or, it's almost like a lot of times I don't have a process. It's just like, okay, I'm going to buy a house now. And then I'll do the work and I'll go out and do it and I'll get all ready and I'll buy a property and then I'm done and then I rehab it for a while. And like, it's not a process. I'm just acting reactively to whatever is coming at me at the time, right? Like,
right.
I don't know. So I love the idea of just having that process, that thing that you work forward. Now, I want to go back onto the liens a little bit and dig in a little bit more if we could, because we've never really dug in deep on this topic. And because buying at auctions seemingly a more and more important way to find properties, I mean, can you kind of give us I don't even want to say, like a really dumbed down cookie on the lower shelf kind of like definition of what is a lien? I mean, why is that important? Why do we want to?
Is it dumb to have a cookie on the bottom shelf?
Well, like I take the cookies and put them on the bottom shelf. You ever heard that phrase?
So I can have them.
You can have
them.
And
it's easy to eat.
Exactly right. Yeah, you got that. Because I don't need them on the bottom shelf because
apparently you have to dumb it down for me.
Yeah, I need to dumb down and put them on the lower shelf for Josh. So how does a lien work?
On the shelf of the short bus.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. How does a lien work? And why do you have to be careful of that when you're investing in real estate?
Well, for me, it depends on what position it is and what type of lien. If, like today, I'm bidding on a property tomorrow and it has a lien agreement with the city, and it was like for $4,000, but it was in third position. And the first is going to sale, so I'm not really sure if I'm putting this on the low shelf with the cookies. Okay. But the first is going to sale, and if the first is going to sale, if there's a second or a third, which are like they're lesser importance in terms of liens, and I guess if I'm going to make it, I'm like really bad at making things not complicated because in my mind I like complicated things. So if the first is going to sale, then it's going to wipe out the second and the third, and you are no longer responsible for that. So if a lien is attached to a second or third deed of trust, then you're no longer going to be responsible to pay them. If it's a federal tax lien or a state tax lien, those are big deals, and you do have a responsibility to pay them. For a federal tax lien, I think they have the right to come and repossess your property, I think for 120 days. Maybe it's 90 or 120 days. So federal tax liens, if you don't know the ins and outs of that, or state tax liens, I would suggest if you have a title search that comes up with them that you go far away from it. I've only done it once, and it was, I didn't sleep at night because it scared me.
Leave it to the guys who actually are experts or become an expert and figure it out.
Right. No, I mean, it wasn't as scary as you thought. Basically, the IRS will come after a property if it has enough equity. So they'll purchase the property for you. If you've already done rehab to it, they won't give you any of your rehab money back. They'll only purchase it for what you purchased it for, and then they'll take your money. But generally, they come if there is a lot of equity in the property. And I have worked with IRS agents to get them off title, and I sent them Starbucks cards.
Nice.
Is that a big bribe of a government official?
No, it was like, thank you. So, I just make sure that if you're going into it and you haven't done it before, you need to make sure that you have somebody who understands what a first deed of trust is and what types of second and thirds may be attached to the property and what types of liens, because some, like contractors' liens, you'll be responsible for. There's just liens that don't get wiped out when it goes into foreclosure. So it's important to know different types are maybe a responsibility, even if you purchase it at foreclosure.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I was just going to say, I mean, if you don't understand liens, you shouldn't be going to auctions and bidding on properties. I mean,
well, you should be going to them, but maybe not bidding.
You should go to learn, right? I said
learn.
bidding.
Yeah.
But, buying an REO, on the other hand,
yeah, it's a different story. Title has to be clean.
Everything's been wiped out, right? Yeah. So that might be the place to start versus at the auction.
Yeah, cool.
And I've seen people buy some stuff that they shouldn't have. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest way that I think novice investors, there's lots of ways to screw up, but they see something, it's at auction, and I'm going to bid on this. Nobody's bidding on that. I don't know. But they get in, they think it's a steal. The numbers work out, but there's like all these back liens, and that property that costs you 20, 30, 50, 100 grand is going to actually cost you 300, 500 grand at the end of the day, whatever it is.
Right.
You got to watch yourself.
I just had one that, I guess in Butte, it was in Butte County, where the guy had been growing marijuana, and they had put a lien against the property, or like a judge, some kind of judgment. It was a judgment against the property, and I hadn't seen it before, but there was no number attached to it. But the fine for what he was responsible for was like $10,000 to $15,000, and there was nowhere to find it on title. But I had to go down to the county and figure out what the number was. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to buy it. But I mean, stuff like, I hadn't seen that before. That just happened like a month ago.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, like what's kind of interesting about real estate, right? And I think you'd probably agree with this. It changes all the time. You're always constantly learning. You're trying to figure out new things. And I mean, that's kind of our job as a real estate investor, is solve those problems and figure it out. So it's one of the reasons I love real estate. Let me shift a little bit over to buying the properties. If you have to come with all cash, do you just have millions of dollars in the bank? Or
yeah.
How are you financing deals? Yeah, you got this. How do you finance deals?
I have private financing.
Okay, what does that mean for people who don't know?
I have somebody who has millions of dollars in the bank, and they give it to me, and they charge me interest.
Okay, that is like the best definition of private investing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Heard. That's great.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So why would they lend you money on a deal? Like, why not just go buy their own deal?
Because that would be a lot of work for them.
Okay, so they want to
people with lots of money are lazy, is what you're saying.
Right, exactly. What I do takes a lot of time. No, we have built a relationship and trusts me, and I think he makes, my investor makes a lot of money off of me, so it's a good deal for him. It's they're in different stages of life, I think, where, they've worked hard to earn their money, and now it would be nice to kind of more have passive income. So I've proven to be something not risky for him. When I have a deal out, if something goes wrong or something doesn't happen, I have enough money to be able to cover whatever I need to cover. So there's just never been a shortfall, and there's just been a relationship built on trust, and there's just never been a time that they haven't gotten paid. So
that's right there, yeah.
Yep.
Even if I lost money, they got paid. So
yep. There you go. Awesome. All right, let's shift this thing a little bit. You are somebody of the female persuasion, and as such, yes, there you go. All right. No, I think this is something that comes up a lot amongst the team here, and we always we've got we put out content and say, hey, is there something here that we need to shift in order to kind of think about the female perspective necessarily. Let's just kind of go to the beginning.
Because me and Josh are dudes.
You are like treading so lightly with this.
I know
question.
he is.
I tread lightly on everything. I got this. Come on. Here's a question for all the girls.
Okay.
As a female investor, do you ever feel discriminated against? Have you ever had situations where people have treated you differently? Do you have any special challenges that you've dealt with? All the female investors I know have said yes. So I want to just ask you.
I don't know. I'm a pretty strong, independent woman, and I handle most situations well. I think I haven't, the people, when I went into it, it was my husband and I, and so maybe that, and now he's no longer a part of the business, but when I went into it, he was there, so maybe I didn't feel that as much as maybe other people do, and now I'm in it, and they know me, and they respect me. In terms of my competition, where we give each other deals and things like that, so I don't, I kind of feel part of the bunch now. I don't feel like an outsider. If somebody was judging me or making me feel less of it, I wasn't aware of it. Maybe that's just me being naive to it, but I like to pretend like everybody likes me.
Go back to the rainbows and unicorns thing, huh?
Bubble. My bubble's pretty good. You should try it.
Well, there's a thread in the...
Right? It's a good time.
Oh, that felt good.
It did, right? I won't pop your bubble.
Appreciate that. There is a thread in the BiggerPockets forums going on right now, and people can go and look at it. We'll link to it in the show notes at biggerpockets.com/show 160. But it is called "You're a Female Investor When," and then there's a lot of different people have just been chiming in, like a lot of female investors saying, just like comical yet sad things. And I'm glad you haven't experienced a lot of that, and I hope that we're getting better. And it might, this sounds terrible, but it might just be the fact that you're in California and they're a little more progressive than, maybe, I'm not going to name others, but
you don't want to lose some of our audience.
Yeah, maybe that's why, but they're saying things like, kind of like you go to a car mechanic, and like my wife won't call car mechanics because they'll charge her twice what they'll charge me. And so we just know that.
Okay, I just had something pop into my head. Are you ready?
Into the bubble. Ready. Hold on. Bubble just popped.
Right. No, it didn't. I just remembered that maybe there was a time. Okay. I just like to forget about it. I'm also doing a new construction deal. This is my first deal where we bought a plot of land, and this is a whole new territory for me. But there was my contractor was gone. He goes on like a week-long hunting trip every year, and he was gone. And the guy called me, and he's like, "Hey, Steph, there's going to be a change order that needs to be done. And I'm like, okay. And I hung up the phone, and Michael gets back, and he's like, what did you do? Like, why didn't you have him send you he just took advantage of you because you're a girl, and you just sounded like you were all fluffy and fine with it, and it's like $8,000, and why didn't he was mad because he felt like he took advantage of me. But in reality, I probably should have handled the situation differently and been a little more firm with, because sometimes I just may come across nice and passive and those kinds of things. But
you're not. Don't worry about it.
I don't come across that way, so that's good. So just that experience made me realize, okay, well, just because I am a female in this situation doesn't mean that I don't mean business, and that you don't just get to skip around what needs to actually take place in terms of protocol, which he should have given me an actual change order, and I should have approved the number, and I should have signed it, and those kinds of things. So that kind of situation was maybe where I felt a little bit of that. But I'm going to go back to my...
Good. Well, I was going to say, I mean, that may or may not have been also just the fact that you're a female. It could have just been
happenstance.
It happened. I mean, guys, people do that to me all the time. And I come across
it's because you're
weak,
a girl.
And I come across as a girl. Maybe that's
You're really passive and weak.
Yeah, I am very passive and weak. And but guys know that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe until they realize that I know what I'm doing. A lot of times I've contractors come in and they're like, yeah, it looks like your reverse collapilator over there is broken. I'm like, actually, that's a, ABS fitting on that plumbing, pipe. Oh, he knows what he's doing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it becomes a lot more, they know they can't get away with that crap.
Exactly. I think that I've definitely had that experience. And in the flip world, you can't run anything past me. You just can't, because I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. And with this new project, I don't. I'm in different waters. And so it was kind of like, oh yeah, Stefanie, you got to fake it till you make it. And make sure that they all know that even if you don't know what you're doing, you know what you're doing, kind of thing.
Just don't let them talk about reverse collapilators.
Yeah, the reverse collapilators are...
Well, I will correct them.
All right, so before we get to the fire round, I got a couple more questions just about how you run your business, because that's pretty amazing to be doing that many flips and have done that many without a team. So you must have a team, right? I mean, you work in a full-time job. What does your team look like? Do you have a lot of employees, or is it just a couple outsourced people? What's that like?
So within my accounting business, I have two ladies that work for me in addition to my dad. And one of the gals, she totally helps me run the house stuff in terms of paying all. I used to do everything myself in terms of paying all the bills. Now I just make sure that I keep the budget straight and all of that. And she pays all the bills, and she does a lot of coordinating for me. She turns on PG&E. She gets insurance covered. She's just like an extension of who I am, and that's, over time I've given her more and more. So within the hub of the administrative stuff, that's what I have. And then I have a contractor, and he has anywhere from 1 to 2 employees depending on the kind of time of year. Then I have a painting crew. None of these guys are under the Kite group, but we partner. So not in terms of money, but we have this loyal relationship, and I keep them busy and they make me a priority. That's just kind of always been our relationship. So then I have a painting crew. I have the guys that I use for all my granite and flooring. I have a plumber, an electrician, a roofer, an HVAC guy, a hardwood floor guy. I just have all these guys I've been using on all of my houses, and they know exactly what to do and how I like it and what colors and all of those things.
And they're 1099s, not W-2s, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the only W-2 is Terry that works in my office that she does. So
it's just the two of you really at the end of the day? Internally.
Correct. Yeah, internally. Mm-hmm.
Right on. Excellent.
But then, and then I have a stager and a cleaner, but I call them my team. When I write an email and we have a house, it's like, hey team, we have this house and this is the dates and this is when you're going to clean and stage and photograph, and this is, so it's just, I have a whole system and a whole group of core people that I trust, and I don't have to, I used to go through the houses and put blue tape everywhere because they would just screw up everything, and now I don't have to do that because they'll blue tape it themselves. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the keys to successfully building a sizable flipping operation is you have that team that knows what they're doing, whether or not they're on staff or whether 1099 contractors, whatever. Like they just know what you're doing. They like working with you because they know what to expect. They know they're going to get paid. And you can really just have that. I mean, it's really kind of E-Myth, Michael Gerber E-Myth style, where you just have a fluid machine that just kind of runs itself in a way. I mean, not that you don't do any work, but it's a machine that you just have to maintain the machine, and that's how you scale. So I love that.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's good.
Cool. All right. Josh is giving me the move on sign. All right. Let's move on over to the fire round.
It's time for the fire round.
All right, the fire round. These questions come direct out of the BiggerPockets forums, which you should be asking questions and answering questions in, everyone. Not you specifically, Stephanie, but everyone listening to the show should be jumping in there. If you could, just 5 minutes a day. You'll grow, they'll grow, everyone grows. So BiggerPockets.com/forums. All right, questions are, number 1, when it comes to flipping, should you have the property first or the financing first? I love that question.
In my world, you need to have financing first.
Okay.
I think you need to have it set up because in my world, like I need to have cash to be able to go to auction and do that. But if you're doing wholesaling stuff, that's a different story. But I think for flipping, financing, you need to have that in order.
Cool. I like it.
In my opinion.
That's what we want.
Fair enough.
You got it.
All right. Any suggestions on how to assemble a team of contractors to help flip homes? How did you put together a great team of contractors?
Oh, honestly, I think it was just ordained for me. I mean, the people that have given me, like Jesus gave me these people. I mean it. For me, how people do business and how they treat people and what kind of person you are is 9 times out of 10 more important to me than what's being done. Like who I am needs to be important, and how I react and how I respond is important to me. And I can't have people on my team who don't share the same goals and values. And when they walk onto my house or onto a property, like they're going to get treated with kindness and respect. And I've kind of really tried to instill that in everybody. So for me, it's about finding like-minded people that share the same type of business responsibilities.
I love that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, good answer.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Number 3, what are the first steps I should take to start my own real estate investment company? I know it's a very big question.
That's a very broad question. The first step...
Oh, she's mocking you.
I think she was mocking me.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Not at all.
All right, so what should I do?
Anytime you want to do that, feel free to.
Yeah, you can mock me. It's okay. I got this.
I have a little sarcasm in here. Just a little.
That's okay. I love how that was a sarcastic.
Okay.
I'm not sarcastic at all.
Totally not. The first steps, I would say, would be to get to know your market. And if you don't know anything about real estate, find somebody who does. Find a mentor or find a real estate agent who has access to information that you may not, and that may be a good place to start just to get to know your market. I think that's the most important thing. I know where every house is on every street and what is next door to it and what it's located by without ever driving by. That didn't come by just wishing it did. I spent a lot of time.
Yeah. I love that.
All right, last question. Should you purchase home insurance for your flipping properties?
Yes, you should.
Why?
How? Like what type of policy do I need to get?
Oh, you want more information?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be helpful. I mean, wasn't a yes/no question. Well, actually, kind of was, wasn't it?
It was actually, and I answered it precisely how you asked it. So.
Wow. Feisty.
Sorry, comes out sometimes. This is something that I have desperately not wanted to spend money on, but so you have to. I've had things happen where properties have been damaged, and I've had to rely on the insurance. I've gone over and over with my insurance agent about what kind of coverage I can get. It's kind of limited what is out there to be offered for homes that are vacant and you are flipping. So in each area and whatever insurance company you use, sometimes what is offered is limited. And for me, I think the most important thing is that vandalism is covered, and that if you have trucks and tools and trailers on the property, that those are covered. That, even if your contractor has insurance, make sure that it covers what's on the property while you're rehabbing it, because I've run into stuff being stolen and it not being covered, and then you're paying insurance premiums for something that, what's like the realistic problems of what could happen, what like stuff gets stolen and people vandalize. That's mainly what happens to vacant homes.
Why are people so mean? Why do people do these
We just had our trailer stolen full of tools like the 2 days before Christmas, right? That kind of popped my bubble.
Yeah. Just to add on to the insurance thing, make sure you let your insurance agent know it is a vacant property. Sometimes there's different insurances for vacant versus not. It's actually cheaper, at least for me. It's always been cheaper for vacant policy than it is for a live-in policy. So it might be cheaper for you as well. Depends on where you live. All right.
Good tips. Good advice.
All right.
Good answers.
Moving on to the world famous. Famous for.
Okay.
All right, famous for. These questions are asked of every single guest, pretty much. And let's go number 1. What is your favorite real estate book? I know you said you didn't read mine at the beginning, probably because it wasn't out.
Totally yours.
Oh, good.
When I first started, I read it's like called Flip.
Yep.
Who's it by? Rick Bellini and Clay Davis. And for me, that was like practical steps about how to set up information, how to calculate your repairs. That was an important book for me to kind of get to know what I wanted to do and do it better.
Cool. Right on. What about business book? Do you read business books?
I don't read at all.
Nothing?
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. For me, when I was a kid, my dad's he's just like my hero, and he is the smartest man I know. I'll make you cry, tear. And when I was like 12 years old, I was playing the game that Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like the Monopoly game, and it's called, you either get stuck in, cash flow. Thank you. You either get stuck in the rat race, or you buy property and create cash flow. So like when I was 12, I was playing that game. Nice. So, and I was like, this is, ridiculous, Dad. What are we doing? But he had always just instilled in me just a different way of thinking about money and what to do with it. And so when I actually got older and read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I was like, oh, I get what you were trying to say. But with that, for me also, I have to always, come to this place of what is important to me in terms of balance. I feel like, I can get caught up in all of that, but I also can't forget that I have a family and that I need to balance all of these things. I want to be a smart, wise, discerning businesswoman, but like at the end of the day, like my splendor is not going to descend with me, it's just not. So for me to know that I can't take any of it with me, and maybe I shouldn't hold on to it so tightly, and not everything in my life is dependent upon, earning an extra dollar, that I need to be a good woman and a good businesswoman and make smart decisions and be wise and make wise choices. And so I think that book gave me some of that wisdom, but also have to be balanced in all of that.
So to make a long answer short,
right?
Rich Dad.
Yeah, it was a good book.
Okay. Okay, I'm just making sure we're on the same page, right?
Yeah,
you're talking about all sorts of stuff, and I was trying to find the book.
I like that book. It's a good book.
I do too.
It is. All right, fair enough. Hobbies. What do you do for fun?
I ride horses.
Oh, what kind of horses?
Quarter horses. I rope and
Oh.
Hey, want to know?
You're a cowgirl.
I'm a cowgirl. That's right.
Oh, cool.
Want to know a funny story about horses? It's going to explain a lot to you.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So when I was like 7 years old, I was at a camp and
They step on your head?
and I fell off the horse. It took off running. It stepped on my head.
Shut up.
Yep, totally. I had a helmet on, but
okay,
it crushed the
that
helmet.
does explain
it
a
crushed
lot.
the helmet, and
Are you okay? Are you like scared
I was afraid
now?
of horses for about 15 years. Finally got back on one, and then we went at a different camp. And we went when I was a teenager then, and I don't know, maybe 10 years later. Anyway, I went underneath this zip line. They had like this big jump off a zip line thing. And some person jumped off right when the horses went underneath it, which is a terrible idea. Horse took off again, reared up, went running. I didn't fall off, but I was sideways on it. It took me another 4 years to get back on again. I think I was like maybe 20 then. Anyway, and now I've ridden one like twice since. I'm very afraid of horses now.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but it explains a lot about, why
does.
I'm the way I am.
I'm not going to judge you.
Don't judge me.
You should.
I'm not judging you.
Should.
I'm not
All right,
judging you.
so you're into horses.
And-
By the way, I was at the National Western Stock Show this weekend.
In Colorado?
Oh yeah. Oh man, it was so
I've been there. I
awesome.
used to live in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've been there.
Cool.
I love it.
It's a lot of fun. So if you're
It
ever in
is.
Colorado when it's happening, folks, and you like horses and cows and
buying stuff. There's lots of stuff to buy.
yeah, there you go. Okay, so hobbies are horses. What else?
My children. I have 2 beautiful children, and just being a mama is probably one of the most important things to me.
Fabulous. Love it. Love it. Awesome.
All right, my final question of the day. Number 4, the famous 4. What do you believe sets apart the successful real estate investors from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
For me, I think it's been just not giving up. I've been hit some hard blows, and I get back up, and I keep going, and I learn from it, and try not to make the same mistakes, but I just don't give up. I think that tenacity has been in my blood since I was a kid. So I work hard at it, and I grind at it, and I don't give up.
Nice. So like your theme song for life is like that Chumbawamba song, get
knocked down.
No, I really wouldn't say that would be my.
I think that's a drinking song.
Okay. Drink in the night. Oh, that one?
No, I think it's pissing.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is. Why is it a drinking song? Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Stop and think about it.
Okay.
And yeah. All right. So,
I would
Stephanie,
definitely say that.
before we let you go,
I'll come up with them though.
Yeah, thank you.
where can people find out more information about you? Where can they connect with you?
BiggerPockets. I'm on BiggerPockets. Stefanie Marshall. We also have a website, the Kite Group. It's up and running, and that was a big deal for me. I just got all of that done. I've been trying to get that done. So the Kite Group.
KiteGroup.com?
Yeah, it's the Kite, and then it's abbreviated grp.com.
So the KITEGRP.com.
Yep.
All right.
And we'll link to that in the show notes at biggerpockets.com/show160. Stephanie, thank you so much.
Yeah.
By the way, Stephanie will be there to answer any of your questions on the show notes. So if you want to talk to her about the show, feel free to. Stephanie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on board. And I hope to see you floating by my office in your bubble.
My life is good. There's a lot to be thankful for.
Of course.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a beautiful day.
Hey, thank
too.
you. You too.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. That was Stefanie Marshall. She's awesome, isn't she?
She is awesome, and she's not sarcastic at all.
No, not at all.
No, she's awesome. I learned a lot because, like, I've said this before. My goal for 2016 is to take my, flipping business, or at least acquisition of properties up. Like, I want to 10x that this year. And so I don't know if you guys noticed this. I picked people's brains a lot lately on what they're doing to find deals and stand out from the competition, and how they're scaling their business, because that's one of my major goals for this year. So, yeah, it's a podcast just for me.
Yeah, really interesting. Great. Nobody cares.
They
Nobody
care.
cares. Guys, listen, thank you so much for listening. If you want to interact with Stephanie, ask her questions, again, go to the show notes at biggerpockets.com/show160. Otherwise, big thanks for everybody for listening. Like we talked about in the beginning, please, we could certainly use some more ratings and reviews on iTunes. So please jump in and take a minute or two to do that if you are getting any value at all out of these podcasts. Otherwise, jump on the forums, jump into the BiggerPockets community. We have hundreds of thousands of members, thousands of new posts every day. This community is hopping. This community is
like a rabbit.
It's amazing. Like the more I talk to people, the more I realize how really special BiggerPockets is. I mean, it's really rare to find a community where there's so many selfless, whoops, selfless people. I mean, like people just jump in and help people because they want to help people, because they were there once, they've experienced it. They want to see, new people kind of thrive and do well. And so it's just a wonderful place. And if you haven't spent any time on the community or reading our blog, you really should take some time to do that. Check it out. The podcast is obviously awesome, but those areas of the site are incredible too. So check it out. That's it. Oh, otherwise, really cool shout out, by the way, which I didn't get to mention in the beginning. We had a really cool mention today on NBC. Well, it was the Channel 9 News in Denver, NBC affiliate. And, got a nice 30, 45 seconds talking all about how awesome BiggerPockets is. So that was pretty cool. You could check it out on our press page at biggerpockets.com/press. That's all I got.
Is that short for you? Is that short for like bench press?
That's exactly what
you go
that
there
is.
And there's pictures of Josh.
Well,
Dorkin
you really did fall off
on.
a horse and bang your head a few times.
I just want to see like this page where it's just you like with your shirt up, just benching like 8 pounds. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. There's nothing pleasant about that picture.
It might be there if people go to biggerpockets.com/press. I'm not guareeing anything, but it might be. It might not also. So check it out. And maybe you'll see it, and maybe you don't.
All right, guys, get out of here. Check us out next week. We've got more great shows to come. Thanks for listening. I'm Josh Dorkin, signing off.
You're listening to BiggerPockets Radio, simplifying real estate for investors large and small. If you're here looking to learn about real estate investing without all the hype, you're in the right place. Be sure to join the millions of others who have benefited from BiggerPockets.com, your home for real estate investing online.